I still remember the first day I met Mona. It was my second year at college. The sun was bright, and I was running late for class, holding a cup of cheap coffee that was already getting cold. She bumped into me right outside the library, spilling half of it on my shirt. I expected her to get angry, but instead, she laughed that carefree kind of laugh that makes you forget why you were even upset. "Guess you needed a new look," she joked, handing me a few tissues. That's how it started our friendship. Simple, easy, real, or so I thought. At that time, I was just an ordinary guy. Not popular, not rich, just someone who believed in keeping good people close. And Mona, she seemed like one of those people. We became best friends fast, studying together, eating lunch under the old oak tree, helping each other through exams. She was sharp, funny, and always knew how to cheer me up when life felt heavy. I used to tell everyone, Mona is like the sister I never had. If only I knew how wrong I was. One evening, as the semester ended, Mona and I went to a small cafe near campus. The lights were soft, and there was this quiet music playing in the background. That's when I saw her, Jess. She was sitting by the window, sketching something in her notebook. Her hair fell gently over her shoulders, and there was this peaceful look on her face, like she carried her own world inside her. I don't know what happened that moment, but I felt. Still, Mona noticed me staring. "Earth to Jay," she teased. "You look like you just saw an angel." Maybe I did. That night, I told Mona everything, how I wanted to talk to Jess, how I'd seen her around campus, but never had the courage to say hello. Mona smiled and said, "Don't worry, leave it to me. I'll introduce you." And she did. The next day, Mona found a way to make it happen. She told me Jess needed help with a project. I didn't even ask if it was true. I just showed up. Jess was sweet, polite, and had that soft voice that made every word sound kind. The more I got to know her, the more I realized she wasn't like anyone else. She cared, really cared, about people, about dreams, about small things others ignored. Mona was there through it all. Every text, every meeting, every smile Jess gave me. She even helped plan our first real date. It felt perfect. A few months later, Jess and I officially started dating. It was the happiest I'd been in years. We'd walk by the lake every Friday evening, talking about life, the future, everything in between. She'd laugh at my dumb jokes, and I'd tell her I didn't deserve someone like her. But while I was falling in love, someone else was quietly breaking everything apart. It started with small things. Mona became distant, moody. When I told her about something sweet Jess did, she'd just nod, her smile fading too quickly. Once she said, "You're sure she's the right one, Jake? People aren't always who they seem." I laughed it off, thinking she was just being protective. I mean, that's what best friends do, right? But it wasn't protection. It was jealousy, silent, growing, dangerous. Weeks passed. My mom adored Jess. She'd say, "Jay, that girl brings light into this house." Even Mona pretended to be happy for us, bringing little gifts, joining our outings, keeping that same old smile. Until one night, it was late. I got a message from Jess. "Jay, we need to talk." Those 4 words felt heavier than they should. When we met, she looked pale, nervous. She said, "Someone told me you've been lying to me. About Mona, and about your past." I froze. "What?" "Jess, I don't understand. Who told you that?" She hesitated. "I promised I wouldn't say, but it's someone who cares about me." And that's when I knew. It was Mona. My mind couldn't process it. The same friend who helped me meet Jess was now the reason Jess couldn't trust me anymore. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at my phone, scrolling through old photos, laughing faces, shared memories, promises of friendship. All fake, all gone. In the mirror, I saw someone I barely recognized, tired eyes, broken smile, a heart full of questions. Why would Mona do this? What did she gain by destroying what made me happy? But even in that darkness, a small voice inside whispered, "Find out the truth." And so I decided I wouldn't confront her yet. I'd wait. I'd watch. Because sometimes, silence reveals more than words ever could. And that was the night my story truly began. Not of love, but of betrayal. After that night, nothing felt the same. Jess still talked to me, but her eyes had changed. They no longer looked at me the way they used to, soft and full of trust. Now there was distance, like a glass wall between us that I couldn't break. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe Mona didn't mean any harm, but deep down I could feel it. Something was wrong. A few days later, Mona dropped by my house. She acted normal, laughing like always, chatting with my mom in the kitchen. She brought homemade cookies, chocolate chip, my favorite. "Hey, Jay," she said with her usual cheerful voice. "You look down. Jess, giving you a hard time?" I forced a smile. "It's nothing. Just some confusion. She's been a little distant lately." Mona tilted her head, pretending to think, maybe she's realizing things about you that you haven't told her. Her words cut through me. "What do you mean?" I asked. She shrugged. "Nothing. I just hope she's not listening to people who might want to warn her." That was it. She said it so casually, then walked away, humming like nothing happened. But my chest tightened. Warn her about what? That evening, I went for a walk to clear my mind. The streetlights glowed softly, and the sound of the wind mixed with my thoughts. I couldn't understand why Mona would say something like that. I kept remembering her tone, calm but sharp underneath. It was as if she wanted me to feel guilty for something I hadn't done. I stopped by the lake where Jess and I used to sit. The bench was empty now. I took out my phone, opened her chat, and typed, "Jess, can we please talk? I just want to understand what's happening." She saw the message but didn't reply. The silence hurt more than words ever could. The next day at college, things got stranger. 2 of my classmates whispered when I walked past. Someone had told them I was cheating on Jess with Mona. I froze. That rumor hit me like a punch. Mona was the only one close enough to make it sound real. But why would she do that? To what end? Later that afternoon, I found Mona sitting on the steps near the courtyard, scrolling through her phone like nothing was wrong. I sat beside her and said quietly, "People are saying things about me, things that aren't true." She looked up, eyes wide with fake surprise. "Oh no, Jay. Who would say such a thing?" "You tell me," I said. She placed her hand on my arm. "Hey, don't look at me like that. You know, I'd never hurt you." Her voice was soft, too soft, like honey that hides poison. That night, I couldn't take it anymore. I called Jess again. When she finally picked up, her voice sounded tired. "Jay," she whispered, "please stop lying to me." Mona told me everything. My heart dropped. "What did she tell you?" "She said you used to like her," Jess continued, "that you only dated me because she turned you down, and that you still message her at night." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mona said that. "Yes," she said, "and honestly, Jay, I don't know what to believe anymore." I felt my throat tightened. "Jess, I swear on everything, I never said or did any of that." She didn't reply right away. Then she whispered, "I want to believe you." But why would Mona lie? That question broke me, because I didn't have an answer. For the next few weeks, things only got worse. Jess started avoiding me, skipping calls, walking the other way when she saw me on campus. Every time I tried to talk, she said she needed space. Mona stayed close though, too close. She kept checking on me, acting like the caring friend. But every time she spoke, her words had small hooks hidden inside them, subtle things that kept pulling me down. Once she said, "Maybe Jess just isn't strong enough for you. Some girls can't handle real love." Another time she said, "If someone can believe rumors that easily, maybe they never trusted you to begin with." It sounded like comfort, but it wasn't. It was slow poison feeding my anger, turning me against the girl I loved. Then one afternoon, while helping my mom in the kitchen, I heard Mona's name again. Mom smiled and said that Mona is such a kind girl. She was telling me how much she worries about you. I froze. "Mona talked to you?" "Yes," Mom said. "She told me Jess has been acting strange. She said she's afraid Jess might not be right for you." That's when I realized Mona had been working quietly, not just on Jess, but on everyone around me. She was building a story, piece by piece, until I was the bad guy in everyone's eyes. And she looked innocent while doing it. That night, I sat alone in my room, staring at the ceiling. The moonlight came through the window, and I whispered to myself, "Why, Mona? Why are you doing this?" My phone buzzed. It was a message from her. "Hey, Jay, I know you're hurting. You don't have to chase people who don't value you. I'm here for you, always." I stared at the screen. That was it, the truth behind every smile, every kind word. She wanted me to fall, so she could be the one to catch me. But I wasn't going to let her win. The next day, I decided to act. If Mona had been spreading lies, I needed proof. I started watching carefully who she talked to, what she said, and how Jess reacted afterward. And slowly, little things began to show. Mona always appeared before every misunderstanding. She always warned Jess right before an argument. She was everywhere, like a shadow behind every problem. That's when I knew she wasn't just jealous. She was obsessed. One afternoon, I followed her after class. She met someone near the garden, one of Jess's friends. They talked quietly, and I saw Mona hand her something, a photo maybe. I couldn't hear them, but I could see the expression on her face, that small, satisfied smile, the kind that said, "Everything is going exactly as I planned." My hands shook with anger, but I stayed quiet, because this time, silence was my weapon. As I walked away, my mind repeated one thought. Mona wants control. She wanted Jess to leave me. She wanted everyone to think she was the only one who truly cared. But the truth always finds a way to shine, even through the darkest lies. And I was ready to bring that truth to light. Days turned into weeks, and each one felt heavier than the last. Jess had stopped calling. My messages stayed unread. Even when we crossed paths, she just looked away like I was someone she used to know. And Moana, she was always there, smiling, pretending to comfort me. She'd say things like, "Some people don't deserve your love, Jay. You give too much." At first, I tried to ignore her words. But slowly, I began to feel them sinking in, like tiny cracks forming in my heart. I didn't want to believe that Jess could lose faith in me so easily. But I also didn't know who else to trust anymore. One evening, I went to the same lake where Jess and I used to sit. The wind was cold, and the water reflected the dull silver of the moon. I took out my phone and opened our old photos, the ones where she was laughing, eyes full of light. I whispered Jess, "What happened to us?" The wind answered with silence. That night, I broke down for the first time, not because of anger, but because I missed the person who used to believe in me. A few days later, Mona came over again. She brought food, said she didn't want me to be alone. I let her in, mostly because I was too tired to argue. We sat in the living room. She talked about random things, pretending everything was normal. Then suddenly, she said, "Jay, maybe it's time you stop chasing people who don't care. You deserve better." I frowned. "What do you mean?" She looked straight into my eyes. "I mean, maybe you were meant to be with someone who truly understands you." For a moment, I didn't understand what she was trying to say. Then it hit me. Her voice, her eyes, her hand gently touching mine. She wasn't talking about someone else. She was talking about herself. I pulled my hand away slowly. "Mona, what are you doing?" Her smile faded. "I'm just being honest. Jay, you and Jess were never right for each other. I've seen it from the start. She never cared the way I do." I stood up, my chest tight with anger and confusion. "Mona, you told her lies. You turned her against me." She didn't even deny it. Instead, she said, "I only told her what she needed to hear. You don't see it now, but one day you'll thank me." That was the moment I saw the truth in her eyes. Not love, not care, but obsession. After that night, I couldn't see her the same way again. I stopped answering her texts, avoided her at college, and tried to focus on myself. But the damage was already done. Rumors spread faster than I could stop them. Some said I played both girls. Others said I betrayed Mona. Everyone had a story, and all of them were wrong. The worst part, Jess believed them. A week later, I saw Jess at the campus gate. She was with her friends, laughing, but when she saw me, her smile vanished. I took a deep breath and walked up to her. "Jess, please?" "Just give me 5 minutes," I said softly. She hesitated, then nodded. We walked to a quiet corner near the garden, the same spot where we once shared secrets. I said, "I know Mona told you things, but please, Jess, think about it. Have I ever lied to you before?" She looked away. "People change, Jay." "I didn't," I said, "but Mona did. She's been lying to both of us." Jess's eyes filled with tears. "She showed me messages, Jay. She showed me proof." "Proof?" I frowned. "What proof?" "She said you text her every night. That you told her you regret choosing me." My heart raced. "That's not true. She must have faked them." Jess shook her head. "I saw your name, your number." I didn't want to believe it, but her voice broke. "I can't keep living in confusion." And just like that, she walked away. No shouting, no goodbye, just silence. I stood there, frozen. It felt like the world had stopped moving. People walked by, the sun still shone, but inside me, everything went dark. That night, I went home and locked my door. My mom knocked, worried, but I couldn't talk. I didn't eat, didn't sleep. I just sat there replaying every memory, every laugh, every lie. And in all of them, Mona's face kept appearing, smiling in the background like a shadow that had been there all along. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to cry anymore. If Mona could fake messages, she could be exposed to... I just needed proof, real proof. I remembered something. A few weeks ago, Mona had borrowed my phone for a quick call. That was probably when she copied my chat style and created fake screenshots. If she still had those files, I could find them. So I planned. I didn't confront her directly. Instead, I texted Mona, "I'm sorry for how I acted. Can we meet? I need someone to talk to." She replied instantly, "Of course, Jay, you know I'll always be here." That message alone told me everything. She was confident, calm, and completely unaware that her lies were about to come crashing down. We met at the same cafe where I'd first seen Jess. It almost felt cruel being in the place where love began, now turned into a battlefield. Mona smiled when she saw me. "Jay, I'm so glad you texted. I've been worried about you." I forced a smile. "Yeah, I've just been thinking a lot." We talked for a while. I acted normal, even laughed at her jokes. Then, when she went to the counter to get coffee, she left her phone on the table. My heart pounded. I knew it was wrong, but I had to know. I picked it up and opened her gallery, and there it was, a folder named Truth Files. Inside were screenshots, fake conversations, edited photos, and even voice recordings that sounded like me, but weren't. All created to make Jess believe I'd betrayed her. I took quick photos of everything and put her phone back before she returned. When she sat down, she noticed the change in my face. "What's wrong?" she asked. I looked at her and said softly, "Nothing's wrong, Mona, but soon everything will be right again." She smiled, not understanding what I meant. And I walked away calm, steady, and for the first time in months, sure of what I had to do. That night, I looked at the pictures I'd taken. My hands trembled, but this time not from pain, from purpose. I finally had the truth. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about justice, about showing the world who Mona really was. The next morning, I knew I had to act carefully. I couldn't just rush to Jess. If I showed her the evidence too soon, she might not believe it. People who lie well are also good at convincing others, and Mona was a master at it. So I started small. I went to Jess's best friend, Rachel. She had been confused about everything, just like Jess. I showed her some of the screenshots, pointing out the obvious edits. Rachel's eyes widened. "You're serious?" She made all this up. I nodded. Everything. Every word, every photo. She wanted Jess to think I betrayed her. Rachel grabbed my hands. "We have to tell Jess. She needs to know the truth." But I hesitated. "Not yet. We need to be smart. If we confront Mona directly, she'll deny everything. We need undeniable proof." Over the next few days, I observed Mona. She continued her usual act, smiling, helping people, acting innocent. But I noticed little cracks. Her phone always slipped into her pocket quickly when someone approached. Her smile faded when she thought no one was watching. And her eyes, they darted too fast whenever I mentioned Jess. It was time. I decided to start exposing her lies step by step. First, I texted Jess without revealing everything. "I need you to see something. You have to trust me for now." She hesitated, but agreed. I sent her a few carefully chosen screenshots that proved Mona had been lying about a small, simple thing first, something she couldn't deny. Jess read them, her hand shaking. I don't understand. Why would she do this?" "She's jealous," I said. "She wanted to break us apart, and she's been lying to everyone." Tears streamed down her face. "Jay, I feel so stupid for believing her." "Don't," I said. "She's good at pretending, but the truth is stronger than lies." The next step was more daring. I invited Mona to a small gathering at my house, pretending I wanted to make peace. Jess, Rachel, and a few close friends were there, but Mona didn't know they were in on it. As soon as she arrived, she walked in with that familiar, confident smile. "Jay, I didn't expect you to organize something like this," she said, pretending innocence. I just smiled back. calm, collected. "Thanks for coming, Mona. I wanted to talk to you in front of everyone," I said. Her smile faltered slightly. "Talk about what?" she asked, a little too quickly. I turned to Jess. "Jess, do you recognize these?" I showed her the screenshots Mona had sent earlier, the fake messages, the edited photos. Jess gasped. "Oh my God, that's not true." Mona froze, her face going pale. I kept talking. "Mona, can you explain why you lied? Why you made Jess believe I betrayed her?" She tried to laugh it off. "Jay, it's not what it looks like. You don't understand. I was just trying to help." "Help," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "Help by destroying my relationship. Help by turning my friends against me." Her eyes darted around. No one defended her. Everyone was staring. Even my mother, who had always trusted Mona, looked shocked. Then I revealed the folder from her phone. All the edited messages and photos she had made. I showed them to everyone, explaining step by step how she manipulated things. The room went silent. Mona's confident smile disappeared completely. Her hands shook. She tried to grab her phone, but Rachel and Jess had already blocked her access. I looked straight at her. "You wanted to control everything, Mona, but lies have a way of coming out." Her voice cracked. I didn't mean for it to get this far." I shook my head. "You wanted to hurt me. You succeeded for a while. But it ends now." Jess stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "I can't believe I doubted you, Jay. I'm so sorry." I held her hands. "It's not your fault. She's very good at lying, but you saw the truth now." Mona sat in silence. No more words. No more pretending. Even my mother, who had been gentle and trusting, finally spoke. "Mona, I can't believe you would do this. I thought you were part of our family." She looked down, unable to answer. After that day, Mona stopped talking to me completely. No messages, no calls. She disappeared from my life as quickly as she had tried to destroy it. Jess and I slowly rebuilt our relationship. It wasn't easy. The trust had been broken. But we talked every day, shared everything, and this time, nothing could separate us. And through it all, I learned something important. Some people are skilled at pretending to care, but the truth always comes out. The ones who love you, truly love you, will stand by you when lies fall apart. Weeks later, I sat by the lake with Jess. The water reflected the sunset, soft and golden. We didn't need words, just being together was enough. I whispered, "We survived her lies." Jess smiled. "Yeah, and we'll survive anything else together." I looked at her, then at the horizon. For the first time in months, I felt free. Mona had tried to destroy us, but all she did was make us stronger. And that's when I realized the truth doesn't just reveal betrayal. It heals, it restores, and it gives justice to those who deserve it. After Mona disappeared from our lives, things slowly began to feel normal again. Not immediately, not perfectly, but for the first time in months, there was space to breathe, to think, and to heal. Jess and I rebuilt our trust carefully, like fixing a broken glass. Every day, we talked openly, honestly. Every doubt, every fear, we faced together. It wasn't easy. Sometimes, past whispers still lingered in our minds, but each time we confronted them, they lost their power. My mother watched quietly as we rebuilt our lives. She hugged Jess tightly and said, "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I should have trusted you, Jay, but I'm glad the truth is out." I nodded. "Mom, it's okay. Mona fooled all of us. What matters is we learned from it." And we did. I spent a lot of time thinking about Mona, why she did it, what drove her to manipulate and destroy. It hurt, of course. I had trusted her. I had treated her like a sister. And she had betrayed me in the worst way. But over time, I realized something important. Some people will try to destroy your happiness. Some will pretend to be friends while secretly plotting against you. And you can't always see it coming. But that doesn't mean you should stop trusting. It means you need to be careful. You need to listen to your heart and watch for truth. I also learned something about myself. I learned that patience and calm can be stronger than anger. If I had confronted Mona immediately with my suspicion, she might have spun another story. But I waited. I observed. I collected proof. And when the time was right, I acted. It wasn't revenge that mattered. It was justice, showing the truth, protecting the people I loved, and reclaiming my life. Jess and I didn't just go back to how things were. We grew stronger. We became more honest, more connected, more aware of how fragile trust can be and how beautiful it is when it's real. One evening, we sat under the old oak tree, the same one where Mona and I used to sit, and watched the sunset. Jess leaned her head on my shoulder. "Jay, thank you for never giving up on us." I smiled. "I didn't give up on you, and I won't ever. Not for anything." We sat in silence, letting the calm of the evening fill the empty spaces Mona had tried to create. Life moved forward. Mona stayed in the past, a lesson, a warning, a shadow that reminded me to trust carefully, but still trust deeply. And Jess, she became my partner not just in love, but in life. We faced challenges together, and nothing could break what we had rebuilt. Sometimes I think about betrayal. It's painful, shocking, and sometimes it makes you question everything you believed in. But betrayal also teaches you. It shows who truly cares. It shows who is strong enough to stand by you. And it shows you that even in the darkest times, truth can shine through. Looking back, I realize Mona didn't destroy us. She just tried. She tried to break our hearts, to control our lives, and to create chaos. But in the end, she only revealed the strength we didn't know we had. I learned to forgive, not because she deserved it, but because I didn't want anger to control me. I learned to trust again, carefully, wisely, but still fully. And I learned that love, honesty, and courage will always win over lies, manipulation, and envy. That's why I tell this story now. To anyone who's been betrayed, it hurts. It's unfair. And it can feel like the world is against you. But hold on, observe, collect the truth. Protect your heart. And most importantly, believe that the people who truly love you will never abandon you, no matter how strong the lies seem. Mona thought she could destroy me. She thought she could take Jess away. She thought she could control everything. She was wrong. Because in the end, truth always comes out. And love, real love, always finds a way to heal, to rebuild, and to shine brighter than before.